This method has created more millionaires than the lottery, crypto, and side hustles. And you can start from just £50. I would never have gotten a 60% return on my savings if I'd listened to the common, outdated advice about money. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to turn £50 into £1,000,000 easier and faster than you could ever imagine. And by the end of the video, you'll know exactly how to do it, where to invest that £50, why anyone can do this, and how long it takes to see serious results. But first, can you do this if you don't actually earn that much? With rent, bills, and the cost of everything going up, saving £50 can feel like a stretch. But most people don't realise that it's not about saving big amounts, it's just about saving consistently and letting time do the heavy lifting. Even saving just £1 a day could grow to nearly £100,000 over 40 years. And if you could do £5 a day, you're looking at £450,000. So yeah, you don't need to be rich to start, you just need to start. If I offered you £1,000,000 today, or a penny that doubles every day for just 30 days, which one would you take? Without whipping their calculators out, most people would pick the £1,000,000. But if you choose the penny, by day 30, you'd have over £5,000,000. It sounds hard to believe, but this is because compound growth starts slow and then absolutely explodes. And that's the magic of this method. In the first 10 days, it barely moves. Halfway through the days, at day 15, you're only at £163. But by day 30, that shoots up to £5.3 million. Most people understand interest. You put in £100, you earn 5%, so you make £5 a year. But compound interest, that's when you start earning interest on your interest. So your money starts to build on itself. When it comes to investing and interest, time is far more powerful than money. And I can prove it in 30 seconds. Beth and Brad are born on the same day. Beth opens a savings account at 18 and puts in just £50 a month. But she stops 10 years later when she's 28 and just lets it grow. Then Brad, once he hits 30, decides to open a savings account and he puts in £50 every month. He does this for another 30 years. And by the time they're both 60, who would you say has got more money? Well, even though she's contributing to the savings account for 20 years less than Brad, Beth's money has had longer to grow. And that's the power of starting early. The more time you give your money to grow, the better gains you'll make. So out of the two, Beth would have more money. You got £50 in your hand and you're now ready to go. So now what? Crypto, stocks, a savings account? Where exactly should that money go if you want it to grow? If you're in the UK, there's a way for you to invest up to £20,000 a year, and any money that you make from this is completely tax-free. So the first thing that you should do is look into opening a stocks and shares ISA. So once you've got your account opened, the next question is, what do you invest in? The most simple and safest long-term option for beginners is something called an index fund, or an ETF, which stands for Exchange Traded Fund. These are bundles of investments that follow a large group of companies. For example, you can invest in the Vanguard Global Index Fund, which tracks thousands of companies across the world. You've also got the option of the S&P 500 ETF, which tracks the 500 biggest companies in the US. Companies like Amazon, Apple, and Microsoft. With just one investment, your money is spread across hundreds or even thousands of businesses. So if one company fails, it barely impacts you. You've probably heard the saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And that's exactly what investing in one stock does. If you drop that basket, so like the company goes bust or the market crashes, all of your eggs are broken. Investing in a fund that spreads your eggs across hundreds of baskets, if you drop one, then it's no big deal. And you don't need thousands to get started either. Platforms like Vanguard, Fidelity, and Trading 212 let you start investing with as little as £25 or £50. And some even allow automatic monthly contributions. You can just set it up and then forget about it. And you can start one for your kids as well. A junior ISA or investment account with just £25 per month could set them up for adulthood. Imagine handing your child a 5-figure investment at 18. That's possible even with small monthly contributions. And look, I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but in the past, global index funds have returned around 10% per year, which might not sound life-changing, but over decades, that's how everyday people become millionaires. And the best part is, you don't have to guess which stock is going to go to the moon. You just sit back, relax, and watch your money grow. The only issue is, it's a bit boring and it's a bit slow, but it works. You can make 10% a year return on your investment. But when you hear me saying that, are you thinking to yourself, it sounds a bit too good to be true? And in some ways, it actually is, because that's before taking into account inflation, taxes, and risk. Inflation is the silent killer of your money. If inflation is 3% and your investment grows by 10%, your real return is actually closer to 7%. That's why you might hear people talking about real returns. It's not about the headline figure, it's about what your money can actually buy in the future. Now, you might have some parents or grandparents that are keeping a stack of cash hidden under the mattress because they don't want to give it to the banks. But the thing with that is, they're actually going backwards. That cash is losing value every single year. Who remembers when Freddos were like 10p? And now what? They're like 30p? That's why sometimes investing isn't about getting rich. It's about not falling behind. Now what about tax? Because those greedy buggers over at HMRC always seem to want their cut. But the good news is that if you're in the UK and you invest for a stocks and shares ISA, all of your growth is completely tax-free, which is why it's the best place to start. But if you hold any money outside of the ISA, your gains might be taxed, which you can eat into your returns pretty fast. Then if you've been scrolling on your phone and you've seen those TikToks or those reels where it's like, I made $10,000 in 1 month just by following Fred's course. But the thing is, what they don't tell you is that investing comes with risk. Markets go up over time, but not in a straight line. You will see your portfolio drop some years, and that's normal. That's part of the process. The longer you stay invested, the more likely you are to come out on top. A bad year doesn't matter when you've been investing for 20, 30, or 40 years. My best advice is to not keep checking on how your money is performing. The longer you can leave your money and forget about it, the better gains you'll make. So let's say you've invested in something like a global index fund. A realistic long-term return is around 7% per year after inflation. That might not sound too exciting, but with compound interest over 30 years, it's life-changing. But compound interest can make you rich, or it can trap you in debt for decades. Everyone loves to talk about how compound interest builds wealth, and it does. But most people forget that compound interest works both ways. It can make you richer when you're investing, but if you're in debt, especially high interest debt like credit cards, it can make your life a nightmare. Let's say you owe £2,000 on a credit card. If that card charges 25% interest, which is pretty common, and you don't pay it off, that £2,000 doubles to £4,000 in just over 3 years. Not because you spent more, just because compound interest is working against you. And the longer you leave it, the worse it gets. You're paying interest on interest. It's like digging a hole, and every month it just keeps on getting deeper. Credit card companies want you to pay the minimum amount, because if you do, they earn thousands from you. They make the debt feel small, but it grows like wildfire in the background. So before you start investing, you need to do this first. Pay off your high interest debts like credit cards and payday loans. And if you've got a loan with a crazy interest rate, focus on that one first before anything else. Because if you're making 7% on investments, but paying 25% on debt, you're actually going backwards. This is how a 22-year-old can retire a millionaire without winning the lottery, without crypto, and without starting a business. Let's say you're 22 and you put away just £50 a month into a global index fund inside a stocks and shares ISA. And you keep doing that every single month. You never increase it, you never stop, you just let it run. That's £600 a year, which doesn't sound like too much, right? But with average returns of 7% a year after inflation, by the time you're 67, you'd have over £1 million. And you only put in £27,000 of your own money. Now imagine you doubled that to £100 a month, or you started it a few years earlier, or you put it in a more risky fund with a higher return. You could hit £1 million so much earlier. And if you're thinking, well, I'm not 22 anymore, well, just think of it like this. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is right now. Start small, stay consistent, and let time do the work. But building wealth is only half the equation. You also need to protect it, especially from taxes. So if you want to learn how to keep more of what you make and pay less tax than you ever have before, then you need to watch this video next. It breaks down exactly how I legally pay less tax using simple systems that anyone can set up.